Welcome back. All right, so due to the way this scheduling is today, which is bonkers, I'm going to miss the start of probably a couple of the late games because I have to review the 10 early games, or else it'd be a 14-game review late tonight. And I'm not sure who the schedule is for. Most people don't have Black Friday off work. Black Friday is a very busy retail day. Thanksgiving, half the teams are going to be on the road anyways, so they don't go home for Thanksgiving. It is a bizarre schedule, to say the least. And this might have been the absolute craziest day that I've had thus far. Just trying to keep up. So we'll start things off with the New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers, which was the only game that started at 10 o'clock my time this morning. Shesterkin versus Fedotov. There's an early press by the Flyers. The shots are 3-0 in their favor 3 minutes in, and on a 2-on-1 rush, they score first. It's Brink from Forster at 3:14. They would then score again on a fast break. Konechny goes 5-hole. Couturier and Ristolainen with the assists at 4:24. The Rangers did not start on time. Cates nearly adds another. Things are pushy then on a hole by Shesterkin. The first Rangers shot was with 8:49 left, and there was a Bronx cheer for that, so the Bronx was there. Brink's denied on a turnover. Paling has a 2-on-1 chance that's held. The shots were 13-1 for Philadelphia with 5 minutes left. Lafreniere's denied on a 2-on-1 rush, but it's 2-0 Philly after one. Second period, the Rangers press at 2 minutes. Forrester's denied on a rush. Shots are 3-0 Philadelphia at 4.5 minutes. Hathaway has a rush chance. He fires wide. The Flyers press at 8 minutes. Igor's the reason this game's even close. The Rangers press at the half, and eventually they do get one at 10:20 off of a failed clear by the tired Flyers. Trocheck gets one on the tic-tac-toe play. Cooley and Schneider with the assists. The shots are 9 apiece with 6.5 minutes left. Farabee's robbed in close. Things are pushed on a hold by Fedotov. It's 2-1 Philly after two. Third period, the Rangers press at a minute and a half. Zibanejad's denied. There's more pressure. Then the Flyers press at 4 minutes. Shots are 4-1 for the Rangers at 4.5 minutes. Rangers press at 5 minutes. Cates has a near miss on a rebound. We get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. Shots are 6-2 for the Rangers at the half. Farabee's denied on a 2-on-1. The goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left, and the Rangers just keep going offside when they had the 6-on-5. Eventually, Konechny hits the empty net at 19:32. Sanheim with the assist. The Flyers win 3-1. They go to 11-10-3. They're above 500. And the Rangers, the slide continues. They're 12-9-1 now. Shots on net, 15-4 Flyers in the first, 12-10 Flyers in the second, 9-8 Rangers in the third. Final shots are 35-23 for the Flyers. Power plays, the Rangers didn't have one. The Flyers went 0 for 1. The hits, 27-8 for the Rangers because they never had the puck. Shesterkin, 32 saves on 34 shots. Fedotov, another good game for Fedotov. 22 saves on 23 shots. His numbers keep getting better. All right, next up. Chicago and Minnesota. So this one started an hour later. Mrazek versus Fleury. Hartman to Rossi. There's a near miss there. And then on their first shot, Chicago scores. It's a turnover, and it's buried by Donato. Bertuzzi with the assist at 2:23. The Wild press to respond. Chisholm has a shot that deflects out. Shots are 2-1 Chicago at 9 minutes. The teams exchange rushes. Hartman's denied on one of those rushes. The Wild press with 8 minutes left. There's some momentum for Minnesota. They're just not able to beat Mrazek. Hawks press with 4.5 minutes left, and it's the Mrazek show when he gets those shots to save. The Wild press with a minute and a half left, but it's 1-0 Chicago after the first, even though they only had 4 shots in that first period. Second period, early press by the Wild. The shots are 2-1 in favor of Minnesota, 4 minutes in. There's a near miss for Kaprizov. The Hawks draw a power play, and they score on it. Donato wires one from the left circle, his second goal of the game. Vlasic and Bedard with the assists at 5:41. Hawks look for another. There's a press by the Hawks at 7.5 minutes, but eventually Minnesota wakes up. At 10:22, Rossi scores from Johansson and Kaprizov, and then 17 seconds later, Spurgeon buries one in close to tie it. Boldy and Eriksson Ek with the assists. The Hawks then get a power play. That's killed off, and then Minnesota gets the lead. Spurgeon from Eriksson Ek and Foligno at 17:33. The Hawks would press for a response, and Martinez would hit the post there. It is 3-2 for Minnesota after 2. Third period, there's a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. Shots are 3 apiece at 5.5 minutes. The Wild press are kept to the outside. There's another press by the Wild at 8 minutes. We get a power play for the Wild. That's killed off. The Wild press then with 9 minutes left. We get a power play for the Wild with 4:10 left, which really helps because that'll take 2 minutes off the clock, which it does. The Wild press after it's done. Goalie pull happens with a minute and a half left. The empty net goal for the Wild, was that really ruled as icing? Because that's a terrible call. If the Wild player gets to the puck first, it's not icing. So, what a terrible call. The highlight of that being the Foligno brothers talking about it at center ice. So, your final score in this one's 3-2. Minnesota does win this. They go to 15-4-4 with the win. Chicago 8-13-2 with the loss. Shots on net 8-4 Minnesota in the first, 10-6 Chicago in the second, 15-8 Minnesota in the third. Final shots 29-22 for Minnesota. Power plays, Chicago 1 for 3, Minnesota 0 for 2. The hits 17-14 Minnesota. Mrazek saves 26 out of 29. Fleury recovers from allowing a goal on the first shot. He saves 20 out of 22. All right, next up, Vancouver and Buffalo. So this is where 6 games started at the same time, and then 2 started half an hour later. So I did my best. So it's Lankinen versus Luukkonen. This is the one I had on my tablet today. The Florida-Carolina game I had on the laptop. So Lankinen versus Luukkonen. Thompson has a chance that's held. The shots are 3-0 Buffalo at 4.5 minutes. We get a power play for the Sabres. That's killed off. Garland has a wrister that's held. The shots are 5 apiece with 9.5 minutes left. And eventually, Buffalo scores first. Byram tips one in close. Benson and Cousins with the assists at 17:33. It's 1-0 Buffalo after 1. Second period, Pettersson's denied on a net drive. The Sabres press at 3 minutes. We get a power play for Buffalo. That leads to a shorthanded crossbar and out for Danton Heinen. That power play's killed off. 0 shots on net. Shots are 4-2 Buffalo at 8 minutes. We then get a power play for Vancouver. Joshua Myers at the net. There's a near miss there. That power play's killed off. Also had 0 shots. Canucks press with 7.5 minutes left. The Sabres get some pressure with 6 minutes left. The Sabres go back to the power play. That's killed off, and then Jake DeBrusk stays red hot. He backhands a rebound in at the net at 18-12. Suter and Besser with the assists, so it's a 1-1 tie. Canucks press for the lead, and with 50.7 seconds left, they go to the power play. So 1-1 tie, power play to start the third, and it becomes a 4-on-4. Then the Sabres have a turn on the power play. Everything's killed off there. The Canucks then get a 4-minute power play, and they score during the first 2 minutes of it. At 5:15, it's Garland burying one in close. Besser and Hughes with the assists as Connor Garland stays red hot. So that makes it 2-1 for Vancouver. Besser's denied on a breakaway. The Sabres kill the second 2 minutes. The shots are 7-3 Buffalo at 8 minutes, but at 8:59 on a breakaway as well, Suter scores, Garland with the assist. So Vancouver's up 3-1, but Buffalo fights their way back. Cousins unassisted at 13:18. Then the Sabres press. There's a post for Owen Power, and not long after, Cousins scores to tie the game from Benson and Yoki Haru at 14:57. You could then hear Canuck fans swearing as Buffalo goes to the power play, but Vancouver kills that off. Things are punchy on a hold by Lankinen. We're going to overtime. Canucks controlled early. The Sabres take over at 3 minutes. They didn't have the puck at all those first 3 minutes. Thompson and Byram are both denied, and then on the first shot the Canucks get in the overtime, they score. Garland backhands one into the net. Quinn Hughes with the assist at 3:59. That's 2 assists for Hughes. Believe that ties him with Alex Edler for first all-time and Canucks defenseman with assists. So Vancouver wins 4-3 in overtime. They go to 12-7-3 with the win. With the overtime loss, Buffalo 11-10-2. Shots on net, 7-6 Buffalo in the first, 9-7 Vancouver in the second, 18-6 Buffalo in the third, and they outshot Vancouver 2-1 in the overtime. Vancouver shot the one that matters. Final shots 34-22 for Buffalo. Power plays, Vancouver 1 for 4, Buffalo 0 for 5. The hits 24-18 Vancouver. Lankinen 31 saves on 34 shots. Luukkonen 18 saves on 22 shots. All right, next up, New Jersey and Detroit. So the goal scoring today was high. We only get one 80s game out of the first 10, but a few of them were right at the edge of being an 80s style game, meaning 10 goals or higher. So it's Markstrom versus Talbot. We get a power play for Detroit, and they score on it. It is Tarasenko from Petrie and Compher at 3:41, so that's Tarasenko's third goal of the year. Shots are 2-0 Detroit at 5 minutes. Larkin has a breakaway that's... Larkin has a breakaway that's defended. A lot of names. I'm going to do my best not to make some mistakes here, but it's possible it could happen. My mouth's dry, and I'm also really hungry. I haven't eaten yet today. So, the Wings press at 7.5 minutes at 9:22. Raymond has one that deflects in off Markstrom, so good play there to see an opening. Tarasenko and Petrie with the assists. It's 2-0 for Detroit. Shots are 7-1 for the Wings with 9.5 minutes left. Then there's a near miss for Meyer as the Devils press. It's like they woke up at this point. Things are pushing a hole by Talbot. There's a power play for the Devils, and they score on it. Hamilton wires one from the slot. Hischier and Jack Hughes with the assists at 16:05. They challenge it for goalie interference. Nope, the goal counts. So back to the power play go the Devils, and they score again at 18 minutes. It's Timo Meier from Luke Hughes, so it's a 2-2 tie. With 45 seconds left, the Wings get a power play, so that rolls over into the second period with the score 2-2. There's an issue then with the glass that delays the game for a while, and then when we get things started, after the power play ends at 1:26, Tyler Mott scores from Sherratt and Compher, so suddenly Detroit has the lead back at 3-2. Wings go back to the power play. Raymond's robbed there. Power play's killed off. And then at 11:10, it's Nico Hischier scoring. He gets a goal from Meyer and Kovacevic. The Wings press with 8.5 minutes left, but Nason scores at 16:49. They would review that for a kick. They decide it's a good goal, so it is 4-3 in favor of New Jersey after 2. Third period. We have a 4-minute power play to start for New Jersey, so at 3:05 during the second of those 2 minutes. Second 2 minutes of the 4-minute power play, that's better. Jack Hughes scores from Hamilton and Bratt. So stay out of the box against New Jersey was the lesson for today. But Detroit answers almost right away. At 3:27, it's Hall. Justin Hall scores from Kopp. We then get a power play for Detroit looking to tie it. That's killed off. There's a toe save that denies Mercer in close. Pesci prevents a goal from Kopp, and the Devils end up holding on. Your final score is 5-4 for New Jersey. Not the prettiest win, but it's still 2 points. They go to 16-8-2 with the win. With the loss, Detroit 10-11-2. So they were 500 for that one game. Can't get above. Shots on net, 13-7 Detroit in the first, 17-6 New Jersey in the second, 10-6 Detroit in the third. Final shots are 30-29 for New Jersey. Power plays, New Jersey 3-4, Detroit 1-4. The hits, 30-19 New Jersey. Markstrom, 25 saves on 29 shots. Talbot, 25 saves on 30 shots. And if anybody's wondering why isn't he eating yet, because when there's this many games on, if I order food or get food made or bring, I just don't eat. I'm so busy I don't eat. All right, next up, New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals. So Varlamov versus Thompson, and 3:36 in. Holmstrom scores from Lee to open the scoring for the New York Islanders. Shots are 3-1 for the Islanders at 4 minutes, but the Caps would wake up. Dowd scores from Marochenko. Miroshnichenko. I got to get these names right. Miroshnichenko with the assist, as well as Duhaime at 4:50. The Caps then press at 7.5 minutes. In fact, they had the momentum after that 1-0 goal for the Islanders, and they would end up getting a power play, and they score on it. It's Wilson from McMichael and Strome at 12:10. We then have a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. The Islanders go back to the power play, so Caps kill that off as well. With 1:51 left, the Caps get a turn on the power play too, and that one's killed off. So we go to the second period with the score 2-1 in favor of Washington. At 1:15, Anders Lee, with a perfect deflection in front of the net, scores his first goal of the game, his second point. Dobson and George with the assists. The Caps press at 7.5 minutes. The shots are 4-3 Washington, 8.5 minutes in. The Caps score. There's a goalie interference challenge and no goal. Power play for the Caps on the play, however. So it was scored during a delayed penalty. That power play ends up happening because that goal doesn't count, and then the Islanders kill that off. And then McLean, on a cross-ice pass, he buries it. Horvat and Lee with the assists at 16:28. And then a deflected point shot goes in. Holmstrom scores for the Islanders to give them a 4-2 lead. Chalowski and Horvat with the assists at 18:09. So it's 4-2 Islanders after 2, but no lead's safe when it's the Islanders, so we go to the third. Early power play for the Capitals, and they score on it. Dylan Strome at 1:29 from Chychrun and McMichael. Shots are 3-0 Washington at 5 minutes. Capitals start getting some pressure, and they score during that. Wilson via a net drive. Van Riemsdyk and McMichael with the assists at 7:24. The game is tied. The Islanders press with 9.5 minutes left. We get a power play for the Islanders. That's killed off. We're going to overtime. In the overtime at 1 minute and 20 seconds, Chychrun wires one from the high slot on a rush. Strome and Carlson with the assists. Washington with the comeback victory, 5-4 in overtime. They go to 16-6-1 with the win. With the overtime loss, the Islanders drop to 8-10-6 on the season. Shots on net, 13-12 Islanders in the first, 8-5 Islanders in the second, 8-3 Washington in the third, and they got the only shot of the overtime. That's all they needed. Final shots, 26-24 for the Capitals. Power plays, Islanders 0 for 1. The Capitals 2 for 4. The hits were 21 apiece. Varlamov saves 21 out of 26, and Logan Thompson saves 20 out of 24. And now I need to change boards. All right, board number 2, and some more goals as we get into Florida and Carolina. Today they were not able to outscore their goaltending issue. And again, I understand Martin's a third-string goaltender. You don't expect world-beating saves from Martin. And it's a reminder that the sooner Kochetkov and Anderson can come back, the better. So Bobrovsky versus Martin in this one. There's an early press by the Canes, but Florida scores on their first shot. It's Jesper Boquist on the backhand. Lundell with the assist at 2:26. Canes press to respond. In fact, the shots are 6-2 Carolina at 5 minutes. We get a power play for the Canes, and they score on it at 5:42. It's Jarvis on a breakaway. Aho and Gostisbehere with the assists. Panthers press at 8 minutes. Eventually, they do get the lead back. Sam Reinhart wires one from the slot. Barkov with the assist at 9:05. And then on their fifth shot, they get their third goal. It's for Hagee from Tkachuk and Ekblad at 11:21. Then we get a post for Lundell as Florida's pressing for some more. Canes draw a power play, and this is where it just becomes a mess. It's like 56 seconds of 4-on-4 becomes a 4-on-3 for the Canes. Then it's a 5-on-3 for the Canes. It doesn't matter. In the end, everything's killed off. So the score's 3-1 Florida after one. Second period, Canes press at 2 minutes. The shots are only 2-0 Canes at 5.5 minutes. At 6:24, Walker with a wrister top shelf. Roslovic and Gostisbehere with the assists, so that makes it 3-2 in favor of Florida. Bennett's denied. The Panthers go to the power play soon after. Power play's killed off. The Panthers press with 8 minutes left. Lundell has a rush chance. That's held. The Canes press with 4.5 minutes left. Panthers get pinned down for a bit, and at 17:18, Robinson puts one in off Bobrovsky's glove. Chatfield and Blake with the assists. It is a 3-3 tie. Robinson then had a 3-on-1 chance that was blocked, so it's 3-3 after 2. And I was wondering, how many of these games are going to go to overtime? All of them? So, third period, the shots are 3-0 Florida at 3 minutes. For a while there, it looked like it might happen. The Panthers press, the Canes block, but at 4:58, A.J. Greer scores from Balinskis to make it 4-3 for Florida. Canes press to respond. We get a power play for Carolina. That's a bad idea because Florida's penalty killing's fantastic. Lundell on a 2-on-1 rush scores shorthanded. Luostarinen and Ekblad with the assists at 9:08. And then the Canes, that power play ends up being killed off. The Canes then get some pressure after it's done, but they end up taking an offensive zone penalty. It was Aho that takes that for holding the stick. So Florida goes to the power play, but that's killed off. Bobrovsky looks for the empty net goal. That's blocked. And so Bennett hits the empty net at 19:53. Rodriguez and Luostarinen with the assists. Florida wins 6-3. They go to 14-9-1 on the season. Carolina is 16-6-1 with the loss. Shots on net, 10-7 Carolina in the first, 12-10 Carolina in the second, 13-9 Florida in the third. Final shots are 31-30 for Carolina. Power plays, Florida 0 for 2, Carolina 1 for 5. The hits, 23-16 Florida. Bobrovsky saves 28 out of 31, and Spencer Martin 24 saves on 29 shots. All right, next up. Calgary and Columbus. So I'm wearing Columbus, and I was going to wear the winner of whoever played this game. Or I was going to wear the winning jersey of whoever won this game because this, of course, is the Johnny Gaudreau game, right? His former team and the team that he was most recently with as well. Wolf versus Merzlikens. The shots are 5-1 for Calgary at 4.5 minutes. They got off to a very good start. So did Elvis. Columbus presses at 6.5 minutes. Van Riemsdyk's denied and close. We get a power play for Columbus. And as it comes to an end, Fantilli scores at 11:56. Provorov with the assist. It's 1-0 Columbus. Columbus presses for another, and eventually they get it via a 2-on-1 rush at 16:42. Kent Johnson scores from Sillinger. Columbus looks for another. Pretty heavy press by Columbus with 2.5 minutes left. So after a slow start to the period, Columbus furious finish, and they're up 2-0 after the first. Second period, we had a fight between Pospisil and Christensen. Calgary had the lone shot 3.5 minutes in, but at 4:43, Werenski makes it 3-0 from Marchenko and Voronkov. Flames press at 6.5 minutes. Game's getting kind of punchy. A lot of emotion in this game, and yeah, it was getting kind of punchy. Things get pushy and a hold by Wolf, and there was a major penalty in there too that got rescinded. Anyways, I'm sure there'll be all that discussion in the comments about that. Shots, I couldn't monitor it that much because there was so much going on at the same time. I'm just like, okay, there's a major, and then it's 4-on-4. Nope. All right. So everybody's in the box. Got it. So yeah, shots are 7-5 for Columbus with 5.5 minutes left at 14:59. Coleman buries one from the doorstep on a rebound. Anderson and Ball with the assists. Calgary's on the board. It's 3-1. You'll notice there's no Tony the Tiger Magnets so far today. Coleman then has a net feed that's held. It's 3-1 Columbus after 2. Third period, the shots are 1 apiece at 2.5 minutes. We get some more punching on whistles. We get a power play for Calgary. That's killed off. And then Fantilli scores the second of the game. Marchenko and Fabro with the assists at 4:46. And it was a cross-ice pass via a 2-on-1 rush. So that makes it 4-1. Columbus presses at 8 minutes. Calgary would get a power play, and they score on it. Kadri from Pospisil and Wolf at 10:58. Columbus looks to respond. Eventually, Calgary pulls the goalie, and Marchenko hits the empty net at 18:20. Voronkov and Werenski with the assists. It is a 5-2 win for Columbus. They go to 10-9-3. They're above 500. And Calgary drops to 12-8-4. So Calgary started to kind of fall in the standings a little bit with the road record. Shots on net, 16-10 for Columbus in the first, 9-8 Columbus in the second, 11-9 Calgary in the third. Final shots, 34-29 for the for the Blue Jackets. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 3, Columbus 0 for 1. The hits, 28-24 for Calgary. Wolf saves 29 out of 33. Merzlikins 27 saves on 29 shots. All right, next up, Tampa Bay and the Nashville Predators. So Johansson versus Saros, and at 1:23 off a face-off win, Yossi buries one past a screen. Stamkos with the assist. It's 1-0 Nashville. Cirelli takes a puck to the nose. He would end up leaving for repairs, and he came back with the fishbowl on. Shots are 2-1 for the Preds at 5.5 minutes. We get a power play for Tampa. That's killed off. The Bolts press with 8.5 minutes left. Shots are 6-5 Nashville with 4 minutes left. We get a press by Nashville in the final minute. And they draw a power play with 24 seconds left in the period. So that rolls over into the second period, where things become 4-on-4. Points denied on a break. We end up getting another 4-on-4 out of that, and it's a bit of a parade. And what happens is, while Nashville's on the power play, Cirelli, 2-on-0 break shorthanded. He scores from Glendenning at 4:06. And then on another shorthanded play, there's a nice wrist shot by Cirelli that is held. Be careful. So after that power play's done, at 8:18, Hagel scores from Radish and Hedman. Tampa with their first lead of the game. It's 2-1. Forsberg then has a chance that's held. Bolts press with 7.5 minutes left. At 11:20, Yossi gets the second goal of the game. He scores that from Jankowski and Evangelista. Man. I'm talking faster than my brain can process. So it's just pulling names from the past. Why don't we say Jovanovski, says my brain. So, Gonsalves to Cirelli, then there's a near miss there. It's 2-2 after 2. Third period. Early Bolts power play, that's killed off. The shots are 5-4 Nashville, 9 minutes in. Shea has a one-timer that's held. Cirelli fires one wide on a rush. Asimont has a wraparound chance that's saved. The Bolts press with 2.5 minutes left, but we're going to overtime. In the overtime, the Bolts, they control early. They end up getting a power play, and at 1 minute and 1 second, Point scores on the power play from Kucherov to get the win, 3-2 in favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that's Point's 10th goal this month. 12-8-2 is the record for Tampa Bay, and with the overtime loss, Nashville 7-12-5 this season. Shots on net, 10-7 Nashville in the first, 12-8 Nashville in the second, 11-8 Tampa in the third, and they had both shots in the overtime, including the one that matters. Final shots, 30-28 Nashville. Power plays, Tampa 1 for 4, Nashville 0 for 2. The hits, 39-28 Nashville. Johansson, 28 saves on 30 shots. Saros, 25 saves on 28 shots. Okay, next up, LA and Anaheim. You're right, I didn't take as many notes on these games. They started at 12:30 my time. There was just too much going on, and you can see all the goals in the other games. So it's Portillo making his NHL debut against Gibson. I think Portillo did pretty well for himself. Early press by Anaheim. Shots are 3-1 for the Kings at 3 minutes. We get a power play for the Ducks. McTavish has a net drive that's held. That power play's killed off. We get a power play for the Kings. That's killed off as well. It's 0-0 after the first. Second period. Early jump for the Ducks, and they would get the first goal of the game. Strome scores from Hellison and Terry at 2:48. The Ducks then look for another. Things are pushy on a hold by Gibson. We get a power play for Anaheim. That's killed off. And just past the midway mark of the second period, Turcotte ties the game from Laferriere at 10:48. We then get a power play for the Ducks. That one's killed off as well. Ducks press with 2 minutes left, but it's 1-1 after the second period. Third period, 1 minute and 18 seconds in, Laferriere gets a goal to go with his assist. Dano and Clark with the assists, so it's 2-1 for LA. The Ducks look to respond. Then there's a post for Dano as the Ducks get some, or as Kings get some pressure. Shots are 4-3 LA at 4 minutes. We get a power play for Anaheim. That's killed off. Kempe fires one wide on a rush. There's a toe save on Terry and close. The Kings do hold on, and then there's some punching at the horn, because why not? So the Kings win this one 2-1. They go to 13-8-3 with the win. With the loss, Anaheim 9-10-3. They did not last at 500, but there's hopes they could get back there in their next one, right? Shots on net, 9-8 Anaheim in the first, 10-6 Anaheim in the second, 12-4 Anaheim in the third. Final shots are 31-18 for the Ducks. Power plays, 0-2 for Anaheim, 0-2 for LA, 0-3 for Anaheim. Hits, 23-17 Anaheim. Portillo, 28 saves on 29 shots. He also lost his skate blade for a bit, so Riddick had to go in for about a minute and a half. He saved both shots he faced. Gibson saved 16 out of 18 at the other end. Okay. And now, Seattle and San Jose. So Grubauer against Vanacek, and today is a good example of why Decord's a pretty good goaltender. He's definitely the starter, and numbers like this are going to ensure that it stays that way. I feel bad for Grubauer. He can be a really good goaltender today. Just San Jose's got something going on. So at 2:07, Liljegren scores from Toffoli and Wenberg. But then on Seattle's first shot, they do score. It's Bjorkstrand from Tolvanen at 3:03. And here we go, as the Joker said. Power play for Seattle, that's killed off. The shots are 7-3 for the Kraken with 8.5 minutes left. The Kraken were really dominant since that 1-0 goal by San Jose. Then we get a power play for the Sharks at 16:25. Is this after that's done? Yes, they do not score on the power play, but after it's done, Kostin scores from Zetterlund and Eklund. So it's 16:25. He makes it a 2-1 lead for San Jose. He got a Gordie Howe hat trick today, did Clem Kostin. But Seattle answers almost right away at 16:58. Stevenson scores from Schwartz. Then with 1:12 left, the Kraken get a power play, and they score on it at 19:16. It's right from Bjorkstrand and Stevenson, so that makes it 3-2 for Seattle after the first. Second period, early press by Seattle. Ruda has a shot that's held as San Jose presses. And at 2:45, Will Smith gets a goal from Granlund. So Will Smith started putting the puck in the net. Not too shabby. Then we get a 4-minute power play for the Seattle Kraken. During the second 2 minutes, Shane Wright scores at 7:20 from Stevenson and Evans. Then San Jose rattles off a few. First, it's Wallman from Eklund and Celebrini at 8:24. Then at 13:10, it is Granlund from Kostin and Will Smith. I wrote Backlund, but I know it was Granlund because I remember seeing that. And then Celebrini scores a goal to go with his assist earlier in the period. Zetterlund with the assist on that one at 14:03. The Kraken press with a minute and a half left. And then Gord gets the goal at 19:43 from Evans and Tanev. So it's a lot to a lot after 2 periods of play. It's 6-5 for San Jose after 2. And I was like, if they score many goals, I'm not going to have enough room on the board. So, third period, Sharks press at 2 minutes. Shots are 2-1, San Jose at 4 minutes. At 7:37, Cardwell gets his first NHL goal. Sturm and Thrun with the assists on that one. Borgen versus Kostin, so that gets Kostin the Gordie Howe hat trick. Maybe somebody told him at the bench, hey, you've got a goal and an assist, go out and punch somebody. So Seattle comes out of that with a power play, because, yeah, you go out and punch somebody. That was killed off the Kraken press after it's done. Eventually, they pull the goaltender, and Jake Wallman gets the empty netter at 15:13. San Jose wins 8-5, so there's your 80s magnet. San Jose 8-13-5. I told you they were fun to watch. Seattle, less fun if you're a Kraken fan for this one. 11-12-1 with the loss. Shots on net, 15-10 Seattle in the first, 11-10 Seattle in the second. 7-5 San Jose in the third. Final shots are 31-27 for the Kraken. Power plays, Seattle 2 for 6. San Jose might want to stay out of the box. They were 0 for 1 themselves on the power play. Hits 25-18 Seattle. Grubauer saves 19 out of 26. Not great numbers. Vanacek 26 saves on 31 shots. He had the Grant Fuhr day where he just made the saves when he needed to after allowing the 5. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Whew, thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.